Hey, welcome back to Daily M1. Special guest Matt Vincent. What are you doing right now?
Working on just a tip.
Just a tip. All right, so here's what we're looking at. You are sitting a lot in the car.
A lot. Can't avoid it.
And if you ever get out of the airplane and you take that first step, you get like little shocks down. That's your psoas, and you're just janking on the nerves and pulling your spine into extension. So a couple things we got to do. We got to undo that. One of the easiest ways is through a little gut smashing. These tissues, what we tend to do is we tend to think, hey, below the axis of rotation of the hip, that's short, right? That's the quads, that's sort of the obvious stuff. But the less obvious stuff is the tissues above the axis of rotation of the hip. So, like I think of this as the high quads, and these are the low quads. We basically, they're doing the same thing around the same axis of rotation. It's kind of genius.
That's brilliant.
I know. I mean, those are your words, not mine. That's right. Okay, so take a look. What we're going to do first is, if you can get home, get on the supernova unit, but start doing a little gut smashing all the way down by your belly button. Now you should be able to take a big breath in here, and all the way out. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep. And it's on the out that you find the ugliness. So what you're going to see is that most people are like, it's not so bad. I'm breathing here, but I'm flexing. So our key to fixing this is big breath in, all the way in and all the way out. Keep going. And all of a sudden you find how stiff and junky. What does that feel like?
It feels terrible. It feels like I want to kind of barf.
Like a Wolverine is gnawing at your bits. Right? That you can give yourself that experience anytime you want, which is so great. And so what you've seen is that those tissues are really stiff. Big breath in, all the way in, and pushing into the belt also makes it stiff. Doesn't that hurt a little bit?
Yep.
And all the way out. Keep going. You need to stay there until that does not feel like a problem. And that can be in this whole region. You know, when we get people into the high kneel, all of a sudden this is all loaded. High quads are tight, low quads are tight. It's like the bowstring can't open up. And in fact, we're looking at efficiency for our throwers, being able to extend away from the hip joint. We're not talking about this tissue. So a little gut smashing. Second is going after the iliacus, which is right inside the hip bone. So let's take the handle of that thing and just lay it inside, right inside your hip bone. Again, I can add some rotation through the leg back there. Wag that leg like you're happy. Good. Now take a big breath in. And all the way out. Keep going. And this is the #1 reason we see inguinal hernias and the sports hernia is that this tissue is very, very stiff. And when it's stiff, it gets brittle.
It ruptures.
It ruptures, right? So, and we see all those pulls in the groin around the throwers trying to dynamically open up when basically the tail is wagging the dog. So big breath in. And big breath out. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. So those two for some gut smashing. And then check this out. This is my new favorite. The solution to a lot of the ugliness is if you are sitting and then you can get home or to the hotel room, get into this lunge position. So put that right leg up, left leg back, right? And then just keeping the butt squeezed. Imagine just opening up and spending a ton of time in this extension position is the opposite of the squatting. And ultimately, I should be able to, get myself close to full splits even when I'm cold. Right? That should be the goal. And in this shape, if I just hang out here, you're going to find as well, my adductors are a little tight here. Right? I'm feeling that. Because we don't think about the role of the adductors, we usually just think of the quads and the hip here. But it takes us some time here and really try to spend 10 minutes a leg in this splits-like position. Come out, squeeze your butt, come back in, change the shape, go long, open up. If you have access to a band, what we've been toying with lately is just a wrap around. I keep the other hand on it so I don't have to work very hard. And what this does then is it lengthens all this anterior line, forces the stomach in, and then as I lean into this thing, I'm getting, instead of having just my arm over my head, I'm able to really get a big stretch through that fascia and through the stomach and the psoas. Let's give this a try, because that is, for me, has been the missing piece. This is one of my new favorites. I just wrap around, and then do that, just holds it. There you go. And you see how that just allows, and now we're forcing all of this tissue to connect into the abdomen, into the hip. So if you had access to this was nice because you can just breathe in there, hang. Notice he's not breathing, which is one of the cues that we're seeing towards the end ranges of our athletes. When they get stiff at the end range or missing, they lose the ability to breathe, or they lose the ability to be able to be stable around a big breath of air. Like you get really kind of pinche breath. You know, you're trying to get tight here, and I want you to be able to take a huge breath here before you transition, right? You just put the Husafeld on your legs, right? And now you've got to take a big breath. You can't do that in one breath.
Yeah.
So right here, I need you to be able to take a huge, massive breath. And then breath. But what we're seeing is that athletes are missing these ranges, and then they can't really get a big breath to stabilize around. Those three ideas would go a long ways towards improving and racing the drive, which is what we've got to do. Matt Vincent, just the tip.
MattVincent.net.
Daily M1. We'll see you tomorrow.